Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I am, as always, your host, AR, the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about the uptick in school violence and what can actually be done and what we can actually look at as the root cause of most of this stuff that can be done to actually fix it. And obviously, I brought this topic up before on this channel. The root cause in a lot of these cases is fatherless homes. Legitimately, it doesn't matter if it's the black community, white community, Asian, Latino, whatever the case be. Just communities all around America is what it is. That have fatherless homes is what it is. And unfortunately, when you have no father figure in the home and you happen to be in a poor neighborhood or just poor across the board is what it is, you tend to be more in line to end up going down a criminal mindset at some point in your life and potentially doing criminal shit is what it is. And unfortunately, we keep seeing that more and more, it seems like. And people just don't want to talk about it. And then when they do talk about it, you have other people going out there and be trying to basically be race baiters and stuff like that and hustlers and fucking, tragedy pimps, whatever the case be, or anything like that is what it is, dude. And basically try to undermine them is what it is. And specifically, I'm gonna talk about Maj Tree specifically on that one, dude. He's a punk. He's a punk ass bitch is what it is, dude. Legitimately. He was trying to start shit with Matt Walsh and a bunch of other people this weekend over what happened there in Florida the other day with a 9-year-old girl getting a shit kicked out of her by a 14-year-old boy on the bus. And the whole thing was originally that fucking entire situation, that entire, attack, assault is what it really is actually, by a literal high school kid on a fucking, third, fourth grade kid is what it is. You had that whole incident was reported as a white girl and a black male. And then, of course, there's a second black male involved in it. But then I guess apparently, that they had changed it or something. And it turns out the girl herself was mixed or something. I'm not even sure at this point if she was mixed or Cuban or some other, ethnicity or whatever it was. But the entire point was it was originally reported as a little white girl is what it is. And so, of course, people were taking it as, kind of like black on white hate crime stuff is what it was. And reporting it as such and whatnot. And so you had that whole thing. And of course, the one thing that Matt Walsh was saying this past weekend, he was making a joke basically what it was, about how crazy things have gotten or whatever. And then Maj took that all, offensively is what it was and made the whole thing out of it is what it was then. And my thinking on the whole thing is funny though, because I was looking up Maj Tariq's stuff actually here this morning and last night a little bit as well. So, because his different posts just kept popping up on my feed on Twitter is what it was, and I'm not subscribed to the guy at all for that matter, or no, whatever, follow his ass at this point, honestly. But yeah, the whole point was he kept popping up on my feed and stuff like that as replies to various other people that I did follow at the time or whatever, and it's interesting because you look at where that dude's coming from, and then you see what actually is happening there. And what actually is happening there is he's basically trying to punch up into a situation where he himself is probably the least known person when it comes to claims of fame and stuff like that. And he's trying to basically punch up into the Matt Walsh, the Charlie Kirk, the Jack Posobiec category and stuff like that of people who are actually somewhat known in this country for, various conservative stuff or whatever it is that's the case. Because honestly, at least one of those guys, I'm not going to name names, but, it's definitely the Turning Point USA people as well. I'll say on that one, dude, that are very much like conservative Inc. is what it is. And they're just in it for the money. Unfortunately, some of these people are is what it is, dude. Even Maj is for that matter. And it's funny because, when you look into that stuff, what he was doing there, it was about halfway through the 8 or 10 various tweets he was sort of attacking people on and stuff like that. That he was like, oh, by the way, donate to this thing or whatever the case be so that we can do firearm safety training courses for people and stuff like that. And it's like, that's exactly what it's all about, dude. It's all about that dollar bill, y'all. And that's the problem, people, dude. And that's the thing. And that's why you'll never see me personally actually out there e-begging is what it is, dude. That's what it all is at the end of the day. It's all people e-begging is what it is, dude. And I'm personally sick and tired of that shit, man. And I think it's disgusting is what it is, dude. It's people trying to start shit just to fucking try to make money is what it is, man. And I think that's what it is. Maj was trying to get his reach out there, and he failed miserably is what it was, dude. And what's funny is too, like he's bitching about like libertarianism as on one of the posts, whatever. I actually called him out today on it from that one because I was like, dude, y'all are really just Democrat light at this point, man. That's what the entire Libertarian Party has been since its existence started in the 1970s. It took basically all the worst things from the fucking Democrat Party when it came to like abortion and shit like that, and then there's like, how can we get like right wing people that are disaffected by the Republican Party into this party? Oh, let's throw some like freedom and gun stuff in there, and that's what they did basically. It's why you always have like the most jackass establishment candidates as fucking libertarian presidential nominees and stuff like that, dude. Whether it be Judge Jorgensen or whether it be that fucking idiot Gary Johnson, who didn't even know what a fucking Aleppo was, dude. Which, by the way, was a country in the Middle East. It's actually the capital of, I forget which Middle Eastern nation it is offhand, but it doesn't matter. That's the entire point, though, is that, you know, you think if you're running for that position of power, that, you know, presidential nominee and stuff like that, you would actually have known that shit, because you never got to do foreign affairs stuff was what it is, dude. Unless you're running on an entire platform where you're like, you know what, fuck all the other countries, like we're going isolationist after this happens or whatever. Like after this election cycle, if I would potentially be, you know, president or whatever then. And yeah, unless you're like running on that particular platform, and it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter what Aleppo is because nobody gives a shit because we're not going to be in the fucking Middle East ever again, is what it is, some kind of thing like that, you know. But the entire point was Gary Johnson's just a fucknut, is what it is, dude. And that's the biggest problem right now. Like, and again, that goes back to the problem with Libertarian Party in a nutshell right now, honestly, dude. Because again, you basically have like, you know, 10 different fucking versions of the Libertarian Party in that actual political party affiliation is what it is. Where most libertarians hate each other for that matter. And that's what the funny thing about it is, man. Like, because you have like so many of them falling into that, like, you know, basic bitch mindset of like, oh yeah, you need to be all pro baby killing and stuff like that. And then on the flip side of it, you have other people that are in the Ron Paul libertarian camp, which is what I was between basically 2012 and 2014. And then, you know, I basically from there, actually, no, I'm sorry, it was more like 2014 to 2016 or so, give or take. And then it was in 2016 is when I eventually ended up going to Republican Party, is what it was then. Mostly by default, because that was, you know, Ohio has a two-party system, is what it is, dude, just like most states do. And that's the problem in a nutshell right there, honestly. When you have, you know, that two-party political system, you can never have viable candidates in any other party, is what it is, man. It's why the only time you have people in, you know, Congress or whatever that'll, you know, establish themselves as libertarians or whatever, it's after they win as like a Democrat or a Republican seat, is what it is, dude. And then they eventually switch party affiliation to libertarian or basically independent, is what it is, because I don't think libertarians even recognized technically at a federal level for that matter, which is just ridiculous in itself, by the way, because you have people who are clearly being misinterpreted for what they actually are, is what it is then. But yeah, it's a bunch of shit either way. And the thing of it is, you know, and obviously, you know, Maj was talking about like, when it comes to like Matt Walsh and people like that, supposedly they were discussing like various topics of like, you know, various like community centers and shit like that, or trade schools or whatever. And then he's like, oh, we actually did it with like one of them. And it's like, yeah, he never actually talks about what state or city that community center is actually in, if it actually exists, is what I'm gonna say on that one, which I'm assuming it probably does. He just didn't bother saying the city or the state is what it is, dude. Which did kind of bother me because it's like, I'd like to see that community center myself personally, dude. You know? And that's one thing I've even talked about with fatherless homes and stuff like that, dude. You know, you have like community centers set up and stuff like that. You got father figures in these places for these kids that they could talk to and shit like that and deal with, you know, some struggles and some life issues and stuff like that, instead of, you know, resorting to fucking violence and fighting all the time, is what it is. And then you could actually have like, you know, some kind of skilled trade be taught at these fucking community centers and stuff like that, these kids, or anything for that matter, you know, if they just want to hang out and fucking, you know, just shoot the shit and talk about life or whatever with somebody, like that's place for them to be at, is what it is, you know. And you know, that way they get off the damn streets and they're not, you know, caught up by these fucking gangs and shit like that, dude, is what it ends up being. So anyway, but yeah, so for basically what we're talking about today with this whole thing, we're going to talk about it here for a little bit here. There's actually 3 different articles. They're all the same exact story, which is obviously the main story here would be what happened in Florida the other day, which was, let's see which one is it now. Yeah, this is a Daily Caller article. It said video shows 2 boys viciously beating 9-year-old girl on the bus. And this is what I find interesting about Maj's whole take on that whole entire thing, actually. So he tried to claim that she supposedly hit one of them first, But yet, as far as I'm aware, there's no video evidence of that happening. All we see from this video is you have some 14-year-old black kid in a hoodie literally fucking fucking like hammer fisting down on this girl's head, basically. And then his little buddy, friend, whatever it was to him, comes in a couple times and is just like swinging like crazy as well, is what it is, dude. And that kid's probably 8 or 9 years old. So, or at least size-wise, he looks about that age. But he could be a little bit older, even. He might just be small for his size, for that matter. But anyway, or I should say small for his age, not small for his. Yeah, my mind's not fully functioning right now. I'm kind of tired. But anyway, but no, the kid's probably could be just small for his age, is what it is then. But the entire point of the matter is that you have this shit happening, and it's like, why is it happening, dude? Like, why? Who are these kids being raised by? Sorry, internet was dipping. I had to get a drink there. I think the wind's fucking with the internet now because it's starting to dip again now. I keep hearing howling outside, but anyway. The entire point I'm trying to make, though, is who are these kids being raised by? Is it by a two-parent household, or is it by a single mother household and stuff like that? Where is a fatherless home situation? And then, of course, you had this other one that we're going to talk about here with the main one. This is one I was going to pull up the other day when I had just this information of what it was, which there was apparently another school attack the other day in Florida, which was, let's see, where's that here now? It said, meanwhile, 3 female Florida high school students, 2 17-year-olds and a 15-year-old, were arrested this week for their role in yet another violent campus melee caught on tape. It says footage shows 5 girls relentlessly punching a student at West Broward High School in Pembroke Pines, Florida, on January 24th. Said victim in that case suffered a concussion, according to Local 10 reporting. Said after the video circulated, Principal Brad Fatout warned that students who filmed fights would be disciplined in the future, arguing that the footage incites violence, which is an absolute bullshit lie. So I'm trying to cover shit up, is what it is, dude. Said the increasing number of administrators have sought to ban the filming of fights across the country, cautioning kids that they will be facing disciplinary consequences along with those who actually throw the punches. Said some parents and students have pushed back against the policies, contending the leaked videos are often the only window parents have into what is actually going on with school safety. And that's the truth of the matter, dude. It's them trying to cover shit up, is what it is. It's you have these fucking young punks out there who just want to fucking fight each other, is what it is, dude. In many cases, black teenagers, and I'm going to call it like it is right now, dude. I'm going to take it about race because that's what it fucking is at this point, honestly. Not being disciplined properly is what it is. And they want to sit there and be a bunch of little punk asses and fucking start shit or whatever the case be, dude, over stupid shit or whatever. And then wonder why they end up in the fucking penitentiary at some point in the future of their lives, dude. And the thing is with this fucking 14-year-old there, dude, 100% that kid should be tried as an adult because that was fucking attempted murder, dude. He fucking beat that girl so senseless, dude. Like, Jesus Christ, man. It is fucking disgusting. And this is my thinking on the whole thing right now, honestly, dude. Like, that dude is another Michael Brown situation in the fucking making if he doesn't get charged as an adult, dude. If he just gets, like, some juvenile time of a couple years or something like that, dude, and gets back out, you're going to hear something 2, 3, 4 years from now where it's like, oh, black teen killed by cops again. And it's him basically doing some Michael Brown bullshit, dude, trying to strong arm some fucking not Middle Eastern dude, Indian store owner in some state or whatever it was, dude, which is going to happen there in Minnesota with Ferguson. And I forget what year Michael Brown was actually killed offhand. I think it was 2013, maybe 14, somewhere in there. It was right before BLM got their huge platform on during Obama's administration, is what it was. But anyway. And of course, that's when they became, a big claim to fame and became the organization that they are, and actual terrorist organizations, what they really are at this point, and communist agenda is what it is there with Patrice Colors and company. But and what's funny is actually when you look into their whole thing, and this has happened in the past couple of years, and they changed up their website and shit like that. When it came to the 3 black chicks that are behind the national Black Lives Matter organization, their whole entire platform there was to basically have fatherless homes. It was to get black males out of the home, and you could have 2 female fucking lesbians raising kids is what it was, dude. So, yeah, it's 100% a Marxist agenda is what it is, dude. And it was called out, and that's why they changed their fucking thing is what it was. So people would be like, oh, well, no, see, we're not doing that at all. And it's like, bullshit, you're not. Like, we know you're fucking in-game, dude. But the whole point and the entirety of the matter is that going back to Michael Brown's situation, you know, you had him basically strong-arming some fucking store owner at a store, and then eventually got clapped from the cops is what it was, dude, because he was trying to attack the fucking cops and steal their gun. In that situation with Darren Wilson. So, and then people never really talk about this, actually. There was another guy at that point in time in Ferguson, Missouri, who was a chapter head and was pretty much like the original founder of the BLM whole org is what it was there, who was found dead in his car that was all burned out, and he clearly had like bullet holes in the back of his head when they did the autopsy and stuff like that. And that happened quite a few times, actually, to the people that were like the actual grassroots folks is what it was. That should have been the real leadership of the actual organization. So, yeah, definitely some fucking shady murders going on there, dude, in the whole situation there. But they've never been resolved. And it makes sense why they never resolved, because, again, you know, anybody that would try to look into it probably gets killed, too, is what this is. It's kind of like Hillary Clinton situation, you know? But anyway, the entire point is, when you have these kids committing, you know, various violence and stuff like that, and getting away with this shit, it's like, dude, no, you fucking throw the book at them. You know, if they're going to if they're going to sit there, you know, 10, 12, 14, whatever, and act like a bunch of fucking adults, they need to be treated as adults, dude. They need to be charged as adults for that matter. If they're going to be doing adult crimes, they need to be charged as adults is what it is, man. Now, granted, the younger of the 2 black kids in that situation that was beating on this girl, the little dude, you know, depending on his age, which I'm guessing, like I said, there's probably like 9 or 10 himself. Throw that kid in DH for a couple years and put him on a scared straight kind of program is what it is, man. And get him the help he actually needs to maybe rehabilitate and be a better member of society at some point in the future then. Because the thing is, I'm pretty sure that 14-year-old, like, if he's already doing shit like that at 14, this is probably not the first time he did it, actually. Dude, that kid's a lost cause at this point, legitimately. And that's the problem with so many of them, man. Is they don't understand, you know, the consequences until it's too late is what it is. Or they think fucking life's a video game and stuff like that, and they're just going to respawn to shit like that is what it is, man. Which is not the case at all. You know, you got one life in this world, and you got to use it to its fullest, man. You don't play fucking games, because you play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes is what it is, dude. So, anyway. But, going to the third article here. We got update. It says, teen who beat 9-year-old girl on the bus served with a civil citation. This is from the Riverside Post here. These people do quite a bit of stuff on the one channel that I'm sub to on Twitter there. And as it says here, it said, Riverside Post reported on Friday that a couple teenage students in Florida were caught on video savagely beating a 9-year-old girl on a school bus. Disturbing video shows a giant male and others repeatedly punching the small child in the face, head, and neck while she was desperately trying to protect herself. Savage teens then began beating her 10-year-old brother. Fucking ridiculous, dude. It said, mother of the child, who was reportedly savagely beaten, said she reported the violent incident to Coconut Palm K-8 Academy, but the school said that they couldn't do anything about it. Bullshit, they can't. It said, mother, who wished to remain anonymous, told a local outlet that she is pressing charges against Coconut Palm K-8 Academy and is also pursuing criminal charges against the teenagers who beat her children. According to another mother who wished to remain anonymous, there is a huge problem with violence at that academy, and nothing is being done about it, no matter how many parents complain about it. Well, it sounds to me like the entire administration needs to drop on charges at this point, dude. Seriously. Like, if you're going to be that fucking, if you're going to go down that violent road and shit like that, dude, you're not going to do anything about it as an actual administrator, dude. You don't need to be an administrator anymore. You need to be blackballed from education forever is what it is. And potentially face criminal charges yourself if that be the case, dude, as an accessory to that shit. Because if you're doing nothing to actually stop it, because that's the thing. I remember back in the day, you know, fucking 10, 15 years back now, you had zero tolerance policies put in place at every school, dude. You fucking fought, your ass is expelled on the fucking spot, basically, is what it is. Like, what the fuck happened to that shit, dude? I mean, hell, I can tell you right now, man, my fucking nephew got into some shit with some people recently here in the last 6 months or so. They expelled his ass for 90 days is what it is, dude. And it wasn't the thing that happened with him was it was retaliation because it was a bunch of other motherfuckers jumped one of his buddies. And they're like, oh, there's the one that jumped me, man. Like the main guy or whatever, and they jumped his ass is what it was. The stupid thing they did was they did it on fucking camera. You know? They did it at the school where there's cameras everywhere is what it was, dude. So it's like, good job, buddy. You done fucked up, man. And that's what it was. You know? Not that you should ever resort to that shit. You know, you should let the fucking cops handle that stuff, honestly, is what it is. Do their job that way. But the entire point of the matter is it's like, yeah, you don't make sure there's no cameras around if you're gonna do shit like that, honestly, dude. But anywho, going back to this article though, it said, quote, this needs to be taken care of right away. Our children are in danger at school where we are trusting other people to do their jobs, said the one mother, who only wanted to be identified as Jenny per NBC News. It says that's not justifiable. It doesn't mean what was said. Our kids need to learn that through violence, nothing is resolved. Said now, NBC Miami reported that teenager was only given a, quote, civil citation, which is a written arrest after the brutal attack on the third grader on the bus. According to the Office of Justice Programs, quote, the goal of civil citation is to divert first-time, low-level juvenile offenders away from the juvenile justice system as at the earliest stage of the process. Fuck that. Charge that little motherfucker as an adult, dude. Seriously. Because you know goddamn well this is not the first fucking time this bastard's been charged, honestly, dude. Maybe it actually is the first time he's actually caught a charge is what it is. But I guarantee it's not the first time he's fucking assaulted other kids is what it is, dude, at that age. When he's going fucking full ham on somebody like that, man. Hell no, nah, dude. That's a fucking somebody that's been fighting for years of their life is what it is, dude. And being a bully to other people and stuff like that. So, anyway, said program is intended to limit eligible youth's contact with the system and reduce potential stigma associated with an arrest record. Fuck that, dude. No, arrest his ass. So below is a statement released by Miami-Dade County Public Schools, which is basically just a bunch of BS is what it was, dude. And yeah, it's just fucking disgusting. But needless to say, it's a bunch of crap, dude. It's a bunch of crap all the way around. And that's what I'm saying. Like these fucking punks, dude. Like I remember okay, so going back here to Ohio last year, the end of I'm pretty sure it was in the last year, or was it the end of 2021 into 2022? I can't remember now. I think it might have been that way actually. Officer Shane Bartak was murdered by an 18-year-old girl here who herself should have been a fucking 3 strikes criminal at that point, dude, for multiple fucking felonies in this state. But what happened? You had a bunch of fucking dickhead judges in the fucking juvenile system keep giving this fucking, I think her name was Tara McLeod or something like that, or McLeod, something like that is what it was. You had them keep giving this dumb bitch fucking free passes instead of actually charging her and keeping her in a fucking jail cell. They're like, oh no, you can go back out and bond back out and stuff like that. And she's sitting there committing more felonies, dude. She committed like multiple armed robberies at the age of 17 with other people and stuff like that. All had handguns and shit like that is what it was. And then went on to do a bunch of other stuff and then eventually killed this fucking cop in a carjacking, dude. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. And that's the problem. You give this fucking young punk ass bitch there in Florida a fucking civil citation. Don't give him any jail time or whatever the case be. Don't even put him in a DH system or whatever the case be, dude, at all. All he's going to do is then turn around and do more fucking crimes, what it is, dude. Until he eventually commits murder on somebody. Like, that's the whole point, dude. You stop the shit at the first iteration is what it is. You know? You deal with these fucking punks. If nothing else, if you can rehabilitate that kid, rehabilitate his ass, but rehabilitate him in a fucking system for that matter. You know? Show him there is another way. You don't just let him fucking run free again. It's fucking ridiculous, dude. It just infuriates the shit out of me, honestly, dude. And it should infuriate everybody else, too, for that matter. It's like, dude, it's fucking ridiculous. So, And then, of course, you had the other main story there for the New York Post there that was talking about how, let me see, let's see here now. Yeah, it said footage of the stomach-turning assault shows two boys beating that girl. It said no adults intervened during the almost 30-second attack. Mother of the victim told she was demanding charges against the assailants. Told the outlet that school administrators are overwhelmed by spiraling violence inside and around the school, and their response was to advise her to enroll her 3 children in another school system. So, heartbroken mother noted that 2 of her kids have already also been bullied during their brief time at that school, and counselors and administrators have done nothing to address the complaints whatsoever. Girl's father took to social media to express his outrage and vowed to launch protests in front of the school, being quoted as saying, "I want to set up a rally and confront the school head on. The lack of security is unreal, and the lack of security on the bus is ridiculous. This bullying must stop." Yeah, exactly. It's a bunch of shit, dude, entirely. And I'm fucking sick and tired of it, dude. I really am. And like I said, I believe truthfully a lot of this goes back to the fatherless home issue. Because it's these young punk asses. You know, you got a single mother working 1 to 2 jobs, probably even 3 jobs in some cases, depending, because of our economy now is what it is. So it's like mom working 2, 3 part-time jobs, whatever, you know, never home with the kids. Kids go out and do what the fuck ever in the streets and shit like that. Run with gangs, run with fucking other older kids or whatever the case be, is like father figures to them is what it is, because dad's in jail or dead or whatever the case be. And then you wonder why they get caught up in that fucking, you know, the scumbags of society basically is what it is. Or with the scumbags of society is what it is. And then they basically resort to fighting all the time, dude. Like, it's not that hard to figure out, man. And if you actually address that root cause situation and do something about it, like intervene with, I don't know, fucking actual having of places for these kids to go and have father figures at these random community centers or whatever the case be, for them to talk to and discuss things with and actually, you know, learn from, etc., you can actually fix a lot of this shit, dude. And if that's what Maj Tari is doing right now in that one, good for him. You know? Keep doing that, dude. In fact, do more of it. And I would say the same thing to people like Matt Walsh and stuff like that, dude. Put your money where your fucking mouth is at this point. Start funding these fucking places, honestly. You know, start throwing down some cold hard cash and start, you know, buying up a place or whatever the case be. The create community center is what it is then. So, anyway. Like, that's one solution, obviously. I think there's others out there too as well, for that matter, but, you know. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you have people that don't want to take actually responsibility for their own actions, what it is, dude. Or want to sit there and act like they're a community or whatever the case be and don't want to actually take responsibility for the community's actions, is what it is, dude. And what's funny to me is how people will sit there, and I've heard several replies on Twitter today and stuff like that about people being like, oh, you can't blame an entire community or whatever the case be for like one person's fucking actions. It's like, that's the thing though. It's not one person's fucking actions, dude. It's repeated actions from the same legitimate fucking race in this country, which is black youth, period. You know? And it's not just black youth for that matter either, dude. You look at fucking a lot of these people coming in now, dude. It's a lot of Latino youth for that matter as well, dude. You know, and then people always want to bitch about like, oh, but they need to be protected, black and brown to be protected. It's like, dude, if they're the ones committing most of the fucking crime, what the fuck? You know? Like, no. Charge them with the crimes they're committing right now. Seriously. Like, deal with the fucking situation as it stands at hand right now. And make our society a better, safer place. You know, restore law and order, for God's sakes. Don't defund the cops. Fund the cops in a better way with better training and better people in there, dude, is what it is. You know, you can go, and actually, technically, even going back to Tyre Nichols' murder recently, dude, you can legitimately blame BLM's bitch asses from fucking 2020 riots for that shit. Because 2 of the motherfuckers who should have never been on that damn Scorpion unit were only hired in response to the whole defund the fucking police thing there, dude, in in Memphis, Tennessee there, where that happened. I keep thinking Minneapolis because Minneapolis was the, you know, obviously flashpoint with the George Floyd shit is what it was. But the entire point was, they're in Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah, 2 of those fucking cops, though, dude, weren't even cops until after the 2020 riots were going on. In August of 2020 was when they were hired on. When they lowered the fucking standards to even be a police officer in that whole department and shit like that. And now they've even lowered them worse than that, dude. Because it used to be 54 hours, like 54 credit hours to be like criminal justice degrees and stuff like that. Now it's 24. And it's like, Jesus Christ, dude. So you went from basically like a little over 2 days of criminal justice degree stuff to 1 day. Or the equivalent thereof. And it's like, Jesus fuck, man. And you wonder why you're scraping the bottom of the barrel for candidates and shit like that. And you're getting the worst of the worst candidates that are then beating a guy to death on the fucking streets, dude. It's like, for fuck's sakes, man. Like, this is the problem. These are the root cause problems. It all goes back to the same shit. You know? So, anyway. Like I said, though, I find it very interesting, the whole situation right now, as it stands. And like I said, I think a lot of people are just trying to create drama over the whole thing. They're trying to make it into a whole dramatization thing so they can basically profit off of it financially or, you know, subscriber counts or whatever it is, dude. Who the fuck knows? You know, I could personally care less, honestly, when it comes to the whole drama shit with Maj and fucking Matt Walsh and all those guys like that. Like, you know, throw it all away, dude. Seriously. Throw it all away, come together, deal. That's the thing about going back to Maj's thing, even, dude. Like, one of the posts he made was talking about, like, unity. Literally, like, the post above it was him talking about, like, basically bigotry with white people and shit like that, dude. And it's like, how the fuck are you going to talk about unity in one post, and then the post above it is basically you being an anti-white racist, dude? Like, what the fuck? You know? Seriously. But anyway, I don't know. People are fucking nuts, dude. I'll tell you what. And that's the one thing I have realized, like, a lot lately, dude. Like, there's a shitload of anti-white racism going on in this country, dude, for real. And, like, just anti-white bigotry in general. And it's people just stoking shit is what it is, dude. And I'm personally sick and tired of it, what it is, man, for real. And then again, you wonder why you got fucking fights going on at these schools, dude. You wonder why you got people getting beat up on buses and shit like that, dude. Like, it's not that hard to figure out, man. And then you got everybody sitting there. It's like, you know, fucking, even the Tyre Nichols situation, you know, like his murder there. It was like, you had 5 black cops beating this man. And you got a bunch of dumbasses all over Twitter in the following days after that, talking about how it's somehow white supremacy. And it's like, what the fuck kind of retarded ass mindset do you have to be under to where you got your head so far up your own fucking ass that you're going to sit there and try to blame white people when it was all black on black crime? It's like, it takes a special level of oppression Olympics to get to that point in time in history, bro. For real. And I mean that seriously. Like, it really does. Like, it is oppression Olympics, like 2024 or something, man, at that point. But anyway, that's about it for today, though. I got some other stuff I gotta do right now. And I am probably gonna take a nap for most of the rest of the day. If Honda does a chat, then I'll be on his chat. He didn't do one last time, unfortunately, and that really pissed me off because I would have actually done this yesterday. I would have done this grandstand actually yesterday afternoon. Unfortunately, some fucking dickhead up the road smashed into a power pole last night. Well, yesterday afternoon actually is what it was. And for about 5.5 hours, I didn't have power at this house because it took them that long to fix the damn thing. We ended up having to go out and go to local Wendy's just to chill out for a little bit and get warm again because it was so cold in the house then. And I thought for a minute it had to do with the Chinese spy balloon, actually. I was like, oh shit, dude, don't tell me Red Dawn started while I was sleeping. Come on, man. But nah, it turned out it was just some person that hit a power pole or something up there is what it was then. They were fixing it. So, but yeah, it knocked out quite a bit of power around here, though. It affected 79 people. So I'm not sure how many overall homes that was. But it might have, and when they say 79, it might have actually been 79 individual houses. And if that be the case, like units or whatever, they're like paying customers. So it's probably like several hundred people is my guess, honestly, on that one. But yeah, either way, just fucking ridiculous. And thankfully they got it restored last night around 8 o'clock though. And at that point I was just too tired to do anything is what it was. And I was going to, wait for Honda and company last night to do their thing or whatever, and then it turned out he just didn't do one. Is what it was, and I'm just like, well, fuck, we can't even talk about this now. So I just figured I'd do it today then. But yeah, other than that, I'll be back later. Probably either tomorrow or Tuesday, probably most likely, with another grandstand. Um, Not sure what it'll be about yet. I know there's some stuff going on in Congress right now with gun control shit. I've actually been doing a lot of stuff today, this morning actually. I guess it was Friday. I think it was Friday in Minnesota. There, you had a bunch of Democrats trying to push through a bunch of anti-gun shit there, including universal background checks, which is the same garbage they tried to push here in Ohio after the Dayton massacre. You had that happen on Saturday night, Sunday morning, and it was that Wednesday. You had Democrats 3 days after the fucking massacre, pushing a bunch of gun control shit, and thankfully we beat their asses on that one. And that's where I basically came into this whole thing. And that's the thing. I even posted that earlier on my Twitter account. Was how you can basically thank the Democrat Party in the state of Ohio right now for why Ohio Patriot Education Network exists right now, dude. Because if it wasn't for them pushing a bunch of anti-gun stuff and getting my fat ass riled up, is what it was, dude, I wouldn't be in this fight to this day right now, honestly. And you attack me, you attack my gun rights, you attack the other people's gun rights in this state, dude. You try to deprive us all of our constitutional right to keep and bear arms. Like, yeah, you're about to have some foot up your ass, is what it is on that point, dude. And you're gonna have the lawyers up your ass at that point. And thankfully, we were able to get a wildfire going, really is what it was, and finally get the General Assembly get off its ass in the past couple of years now, and do what needs to be done. And now we have stand your ground and constitutional carry both. So now, granted, it's less versions than we actually want them to be, but it's still technically considered stand your ground and constitutional carry. So and that's all that matters, dude, is that, you don't have a bullshit permitting system that is in itself, by the way, 100% unconstitutional, no matter what the one dumb Democrat bitch in fucking Minnesota wants to talk about the other day in that hearing, which she is a fucking liar, by the way. The permit system is 100% unconstitutional because that's the whole point, dude. The entire point of the Second Amendment specifically states in it shall not be infringed, dude. How is that not an infringement when you are trying to tax and charge the people fines and fees to be able to carry legally? Otherwise, they would be considered a criminal and get like a felony record, is what it is, dude, if they were caught with the firearm. And they would have some kind of witness or disability, or yeah, it would be I'm trying to think what the actual original charge is here in the state of Ohio, but basically it would be if you got caught with something after the fact with with the original charge or whatever, then you'd be considered to be weapons or disability or whatever then. And I forget what the original charge is. It's like carrying a firearm without license or something like that. I forget how it goes though. But that in itself is a felony charge as well in the state, or at least it used to be anyway. Which thankfully, because of constitutional carry, it's not anymore. And that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, it's time for more states to get constitutional carry at this point, dude. And if we can actually get to that, magical 38th state is what it is, we can actually do a legitimate convention of states then, and actually force either 12 to get the fuck on board is what it is, man. Which honestly, I would say if we get to 30 right now, which we're only 5 away right now for that one, I think that would be the time to do a convention of states then, and be like, hey, which one of y'all want to be the other 8 is what it is, dude. Like all y'all that don't have them yet, the other 20 don't have them yet, like which one of y'all want to be on the next 8 of them is what it is, bro. And then go from there, basically. So, but anyway, right now I'm trying to get some stuff together. I'm in the very early stages right now of working with Ohio Gunners when it comes to various legislation that's going through our General Assembly currently, and about to be introduced is what it is, because unfortunately, the way that our House caucus is divided currently, where you have the Stevens side and then you have the Marin side, we have a situation where nobody has the votes actually for anything, so they have to basically come together as a caucus then, as Republican representation, and actually pass something through is what it'll be then. Because we all know the Democrats ain't doing shit when it comes to 2A rights, dude, because they're the scumbags who should have been thrown out of office already, people like Allison Russo and company, because they're the ones that all voted against constitutional carry, the ones that all voted against stand your ground, they're the ones that all committed oath breaking by fucking over the actual oath that they swore to the Second Amendment when they took office, is what it was in the state. But anyway, that's pretty much where we're at for the day. Like I said, I'll be back here in probably Tuesday, would be my guess, with something. Either that or it'll be sometime like Monday afternoon, Monday evening, somewhere in there. Depending on what kicks off right now. Or if I get up later tonight, we don't have anything going on or whatever, if we're on this chat or whatever, I might just do like a short stand or whatever about the whole Chinese spy balloon thing and EMP attacks potentially coming forth and whatnot. And yeah, if you don't hear from me ever again, dude, it's because of that shit. It's because we're having an EMP attack in this country by fucking China. Which, fingers crossed it doesn't happen. But who the fuck knows, man? Could be anything like that. It could be them attacking our fucking grid cyberways and stuff like that and just doing cyber attacks everywhere. Could be them having their fucking spies all in this country doing physical attacks on our grid for that matter. So who the fuck knows? But there's a scary situation. We don't have our grid hardened against EMPs right now, is what it is. But anyway, like I said, though, it's time to address the follow us home root cause of a lot of situations in this country. And if we can get to that root cause and we can actually have people understand that and do something about it to fix it, we can definitely have a better nation overall, is what it is. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see y'all in the next one.